Okay, today I just want to show you some tweaks and fixes I've been doing. I wanted to flush some things out, and so you're all familiar with, or well, you would be if you've been following my stuff, the sea cans that I made for Bakin Pack 1. Well, I wanted to do a little flushing out, and so what I've done is now instead of just a single level sea can, I have those without any beveling or anything on them. But what I've also done is added, I don't know if you can see this little bevel line here. So what there is now is multi-leveled sea cans where I've made you able to, let me zoom out here. This consists of 3 different levels here, 3 different layers. So this first one, it'll be the red, the orange, or sorry, the blue, the red, the green, the yellow, and then it'll be like metal container or whatever. That'll be the name of it. This one here will be the green, the blue, the yellow, the red. This one here will be the green, the yellow, the blue, the red. And I've made quite a few. I haven't done all of the combinations you could do. I've done quite a few of them though. To be honest, it's a lot, and it's just a lot of tedious work putting those over and over again in different orders and reassembling them and re-normal mapping them. It's a ton of work. So with that being said though, you can see here where I've got these 2 yellow, so it looks like one long yellow. Here I've got these 2 blue intersecting. So you can do all sorts of things. You could have sea cans stacked on the top of other sea cans. You could have gaps in the middle. Well, no, I guess you can't have gaps in the middle because it's terrain, so you'd have to have everything filled. But you can arrange your colors, and you can do quite a bit. Like you can see that looks quite a bit like a shipping yard now. So pretty easy to do. You just lay down the colors, bring it up, you choose. You kind of got to pre-plan a little bit how you want them laid out. I just grabbed 3 random ones and put them together here. The only thing I planned was I made sure that 2 had yellow as the last letter so that these 2 could join, and you could see how one long Z can, 2 short 20-footers stacked on top of the 40-footer, that sort of thing, right? And then here, this might cause, you might not want to do this much unless you're doing something other than a sea can. You could just be doing a metal wall or a metal barricade or a maze or the inside of a building. There's a lot of options to use the material for. It's not just for sea cans. It's a metal product. So anyway, that's something that I wanted to show you. Now the next thing that I wanted to show you is some more work that I've been doing. So I've fixed. Now, some of these are Bakin Pack 2, some of these are Bakin Pack 1. I'll show you the Bakin Pack 1 item first. So, right here is this is the cliffs texture here, the standard, which is over here. I'm going to rotate this around so you can see here the cliffs texture. That's pretty much the standardized one. Now, I've done a different cliff texture here. Not quite as rough of cliff and not quite as grassy at top. And I've just kind of called it cliffs, what do they call it? Cliffs slate or something like that. So it's just to give you another variety in texture pack 1. You might be traveling between. So I thought I'd give you just a third option there for that terrain. It looked pretty good, and I thought I'd throw it in. I was making this slate texture anyway. You can see how that looks really good on the angle, whereas this slate did as well. So I thought, well, I'll take that slate, I'll change the color tone of it a bit, make it a little more gray, and then I'll add a layer of grassy moss on the top of it. So it's not quite as grassy as the cliff grass texture is, which you can see there is pretty grassy, right? But it'll give you just another variety. And then that's the slate texture. I did change the color of it a little bit. I made it just a little more gray brown, just to tweak it, a little bit of tweaking. And now the rest of these are Bakin Pack 2 textures. So you can see here this grass it is a normal grass, and it's right there, and it's got a normal map on it, but it's not nearly as hard of a bump map as this one. You can see them side by side. So I've assigned it here next to the slate, and you can see that it looks a little more natural grassy, but it's still got a little bit of bump mapping. And then for the forest floor one, that's just G grass is what that'll be. Then the forest floor one, it's a lot more bush-like or underbrush-like. So, and a little more bump mappy on the ground too. So that's, I wanted to make sure you had that variety. And as you can see over here, it's down on the ground in a few places, mixed within. So as you're walking around, let me just rotate that back. You can see it mixes in really well between the two. So you can have patches of rough, not quite as much. I mean, we're working with square tiles, so there's only so much you can do, and you have to assign a bump map to that as well. So you can't get a perfect blend in. If I had the same, sorry, not bump map, normal map assigned, then you could, in theory, just do a different paint job on the texture to mix it up. But I wanted to do it using the bump mapping. Now, back over to this side, I just wanted to show off the terrains. That's the pebble, kind of pebbly ground texture, more of a gravel texture underneath the slate. So they're not all just dirt. So there's that forest roughness. Then this next one is the yellowy version of the ground, a little bit more fallish than over here. The next one is the same thing, but a little more green. So it's got a greenish hue to it. Then this one here is the forest floor, and it is this one next to it, which is the yellow version, but it's the yellow or the yellow green, I'm not sure, but it's the fully bump map version. So it's like the brush and undergrowth on the forest floor rather than the grass like this one is. So that's pretty much all I wanted to show you today, and we'll catch you next time.